Who's a Heretic Child? By spacesapph1c. Chapter 9. If you were easy to kill. Summary. I'd been set upon by a predator. Paris Paloma. Trigger warning for kidnapping. If they were capable of operating this ship on their own, Evan would have given in to Barty's suggestion of mutiny ages ago. Problem is, everyone else on this crummy vessel believes the sun shines out of Riddle's arse or something. So there's really no chance that the two of them would survive turning their backs on Captain Shitbag. It's quite literally the middle of the night, and Riddle's harebrained second in command has been lecturing them on something or other for just short of an hour. It's beyond tiring. I think I figured it out, Rosie, Buddy whispers in faux wonder. The strange is actually infatuated by the sound of his own voice. It must be some sort of psychological failsafe, since he knows no one else could love him. He has an arm slung around Evan's shoulders, his exhaustion showing as he settles most of his weight on him. Riddle has them on deck for an absurd percentage of the day. Breaks are non-existent. Sleep is luxury. Could have told you that ages ago, B. When I told him to go fuck himself the other day, I genuinely worried he didn't take it as an insult. Barty's snickers are covered by Sebastian's continued nonsensical ramblings. Before the idiot can work himself up to the point of aneurysm, Riddle steps out from the captain's cabin, the resounding echo of his boots against the floorboards effectively quieting the group within seconds. Riddle surveys his crew. Carmine eyes roving over each shipmate with a cold indifference. To him, his followers are nothing more than chess pieces to be exploited and discarded for personal gain. When he finally speaks, it's hushed tones overlaid with hissed consonants and strained vowels, but it carries just as effectively as a scream cutting through the silence. Tomorrow we reach Bobaton. My intel says the Valkyrie docks in their port regularly. His pace is lethargic as he stalks through the crowd. I want the princess captured via any means necessary. If you must harm them, so be it, but they will be brought aboard my ship alive. Riddle ceases his movement, settling his eerie stare on his second in command. Understood? A chorus of "Aye" and "Yes, Admiral" are repeated in answer. With his light-hearted pep talk out of the way, he dismisses them for bed, but not before demanding the newbies remain outside to take first watch. What a deck! Everyone clears the deck, leaving him and Barty to settle at the helm for the night. So what's the plan? Supposing his intel is actually accurate this time, Waddy crouches. What a great question. In fact, it's the very same question that's been ruminating through his mind since the Queen called upon the two least experienced members of the King's Guard to accomplish a batshit crazy mission. The mission being treason. Regicide, if anyone wants to be real specific. He and Barty had quite literally been working within the palace walls for less than a day when 1. The king got murdered. 2. The heirs both decided to fuck off. 3. The queen gave them the impossible task of not only tracking the princes down, but killing them. Evan would actually find the whole ordeal quite amusing if it wasn't a major stressor in his already shitty life. Yes, we wait for the others to do the work for us, and then kill the princes as they're being escorted back into Slytherin. Considering the stakes, it's barely a plan. Even calling it a concept of an idea of a plan would be generous. Right, Body trails off, squinting his eyes at the horizon in thought. And when we're inevitably caught for assassinating members of the royal family? In that scenario, we pray the Queen is sane enough to offer us a pardon for acting on her wishes. If our lives are dependent on the Queen being in the right frame of mind, we're absolutely and unequivocally fucked. Evan can't do much but sagely nod in agreement. The season has changed since they ran away. The air has since become chilled. The frigid ocean spray is biting. The constellations have shifted. The real testament of time passing was his brother stumbling into the dining hall last night, theatrically announcing that he and Remus were together, as if they hadn't essentially been dating for several months on end already. Nevertheless, Emlyn still won a lot of money for it, despite the timeline, and the crew took the announcement as a reason to celebrate, meaning most of them wound up cripplingly hungover the following morning. All in all, life as a pirate is good. Alright, ladies, shut the hell up. I have gossip. Emlyn slams her hands down on the table, and Emlyn slams her hands down on the table he and Dorcas occupy. The jarring noise causes the both of them to groan in pain. You weren't even talking, Dorcas mutters. And I'm a boy, Regulus huffs. Yes, Reg, a very pretty boy, Dorcas mocks, holding her head in her hands and concentrating on not throwing up. Emlyn disregards their complaints, settling down across from them. Rumour has it, Alice has a secret girlfriend in Bobatons. Regulus is almost certain James started that rumour, but keeps it to himself. I propose we follow her and figure out if it's true or not. Is that not an invasion of privacy? Emlyn levels him with a glare. I have 10 galleons on the line here, Regulus. He states slowly, do you ever think you might have a gambling problem? It's not a problem if I'm always winning, she replies with an uncanny smile. From there, Emlyn gives the both of them a detailed rundown of the plan that they begrudgingly run along with. That's how Regulus wound up in the centre of the bustling city, lost and alone. Emmeline had immediately beelined for Alice once they'd stepped off Valkyrie, and he'd gotten separated from Dorcas around an hour ago. After about 5 minutes of scanning the crowd, looking for familiar waist-length braids adorned with silver charms and beads, he switched strategies, opting for the good old sit-and-wait method. The same strategy toddlers are encouraged to enact when they're separated from their parents during an errand run. Is it a little embarrassing? Sure. Does he particularly care? No. He finds a bench outside, waits for the lingering nausea to pass, and makes himself comfortable. Well, he would be comfortable if this guy would stop staring at him. The man stands at the centre of the bustling crowd, his tall figure distinctly out of place, allowing passing townsfolk to bump into him in their flurry. And yet he doesn't move, not even slightly, just continues to stare ahead with unblinking, dark, beady eyes. It's unsettling. Regulus tries to determine if he's seen the man before, but his memory turns up blank. There's nothing familiar about the man's shoulder-length waves or long, greying circle beard. The man takes a deliberate step forward, his dark cloak swishing with the movement before settling again. He's still several yards away, but the small step forward felt as if he had narrowed the distance between them down to an arm's length, the weight of his stare too akin to a predator stalking prey. Regulus is just about to move elsewhere, slowly rising from his seat, keeping his eyes forward, too anxious to turn his back to the man. A swarm of people walk by in front of him, obscuring their eye contact with one another for a moment. When the crowd passes, the man is gone. Regulus rapidly scans back and forth, but it's as if his watcher has vanished into thin air. Despite the threat being out of sight, he's still on edge. He settles back in his seat, ignoring the slight shake of his hands and the shiver that runs up his body, eliciting goosebumps on his arms and causing the hairs on the nape of his neck to stand straight. He closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, trying to settle his nerves. Everything's fine. Maybe that man wasn't even staring at him. Or perhaps he thought he recognized Regulus as a familiar face. There are millions of explanations for his odd behavior, and at least he's gone now. Regulus won't even think about this later when he's back on the ship tonight, tucked under James's arm and laughing along with his crewmates. Probably a serious expense. Deep breath in. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. When he blinks his eyes back open, they land on the ground beside him, more specifically leather boots that rest beside his own. His heart lurches up into the back of his throat, blocking his airway, seizing his breath. The man sits beside him, body rigid and facing forward, but his head is turned 90 degrees so he can peer down his long, hooked nose directly at Regulus. His mind screams at him to move, but his body is frozen, unable to compute the firing signals telling him he's in danger. It's fight or flight, and his instincts are stuck on freeze. Well done, Cockcroft. A familiar voice sounds from behind Regulus. You found him. In any other circumstance, Regulus would consider himself senile for welcoming the voice of Sebastian Lestrange, the same that haunts his childhood memories, leaving scars in the way that he'll always peer around a dark corner before turning, or refuse to enter a room alone if it can't be unlocked from the inside. That orotund voice is apparently just what his nervous system needed to wake back up. He jolts up from the bench, stumbling a bit but catches himself. He lunges forward, ready to run into the crowd, but a chilling hand wraps around his wrist, squeezing so hard it feels as if his bones are grating together. He tries to pull his arm out of Karkaroff's grasp, but the man just clenches his fist tighter. Two arms wrap around him from behind, further immobilizing him. Sebastian's heated breath condenses against his neck as he speaks, but Regulus can't make out his words due to the ringing echoing in his ears. His breath comes out shaky and shallow. The lack of air he's able to inhale would probably make him pass out. Not that it matters. The wet cloth Sebastian presses over his nose and mouth has him blacking out anyway. The world before him blurs, and his sight tunnel visions on Karkaroff's blank face before him. The sweet, pungent scent emanating from the cloth is the last thing he registers before his consciousness slips. Sirius paces back and forth in front of the helm. 10 steps, pivot. 10 steps, pivot. 10 steps. Sirius, you're making the rest of us dizzy, Remus's voice cuts in, though even he sounds weary. Pivot. 10 steps. Regulus, Dorcas, and Emmeline have been gone since morning, and now the sun is barely visible on the horizon. Regulus is gone, and Sirius has no idea where he is or when he's coming back. And the weather has been gloomy all day. James is leaning against the side of the ship beside the bow, anxiously bouncing his foot and tugging at one of his curls. Pivot. I just feel like they should have been back by now, he says for the upteenth time this evening. He's an adult, Sirius. It's not like he has a curfew. Sirius adores Remus. He really, truly does. But he doesn't understand that Sirius's sanity has a direct correlation to Regulus's well-being. Whether or not Sirius wakes up a good person is dependent on his baby brother being safe and happy. If those two things aren't guaranteed, Sirius would drag this world through hell and back in order to right its wrongs. He'd burn cities and curse bloodlines if needed. The day his brother is taken from him is the day he loses touch with his empathy and humanity. 10 steps. The sound of clamouring footfall ceases his pacing. Emmeline and Dorcas rush onto the main deck, sweat-soaked and panting. Is Regulus here? Emmeline wheezes out, scanning the ship's surface as if Reggie will pop up from one of the floorboards. We thought he was with you, James addresses the girls. A worry line creases between his brows. The fuck do you mean? Is he here? Sirius hisses. Emmeline tenses and Dorcas takes a cautious step back, both regarding him with uneasy expressions. Sirius? Remus warns. No, I want them to tell me what the hell happened to my brother. We don't know, Dorcas starts. We got separated this morning. This morning? We've been looking for him throughout town, and we couldn't find him anywhere. We figured he'd headed back here if he couldn't find us. Pivot. 10 steps. He's been gone for hours. Anything could have happened to him in this amount of time. He could be scared. He could be hurt. He could be dead. Warm hands wrap around his own, pulling them down in front of him. It's only then that he notices his scalp no longer stings. His mother pulls at her hair too when she has her episodes. Sirius, breathe. Worried amber eyes peer into unfocused grey. We'll find him. We can gather the rest of the crew and we'll go scout the town. Scout the town for his lost brother. His brother who's gone. He's gone. His scalp burns again. All he can think of is the little boy with big green eyes and chubby cheeks who used to trail after him through empty castle halls. The boy who crawled into his bed seeking comfort when their parents had screaming matches in the dead of night. The boy he taught how to walk. The boy whose first words were Siri. That boy is alone somewhere, and Sirius can't get to him. Sirius is 12 again, helplessly watching as his father disciplines Reggie in the throne room, watching from where he's collapsed on the cold floor as his brother bleeds out beside him. A sharp slap to the face shocks him back into the present. Lily Evans stands in front of him, right hand slightly raised, ready to slap him again if necessary. When she speaks, her tone is gentle but firm. Serious? We're going to find Regulus, but we can't help him unless you calm down first. You can't help your brother if you can't think with a clear head. He knows she's right. It's so easy to slip, but spiraling will get him nowhere. He needs to focus. And then a thought occurs. He strides past Lily, ignoring the worried calls that trail behind him. He reaches below deck, storming into the chart room, and begins rifling through the papers scattered on the center table, no doubt creating an even bigger mess as parchment and inkwells fall to the floor. Finally, the Marauders map emerges from the pile. He surveys Bobaton's port, locking in on one ship nearly out of the bay and heading south towards Slytherin. The Death Eater. Wow. Oh, that was so fun to read. Oh gods, Reggie. Oh gods, Reggie. What happened to you? I know what happened to you. That's not good. Also, why is the ship left? Wasn't like the whole thing need to bring back both of them? Just saying. Kind of, unless it was that she only wanted Sirius back, and they thought that was serious. Because like I can see that mistake being made really easily for what it's worth. Either way, wow. Also, I love Rose-Killer. Love their introduction here. It was so fun. I'm just glad it was a short chapter because I mean I can continue recording and do the next chapter. Not of this series of like allies or enemies, but it means I can do the next one. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I sure enjoyed. That was fun. Tell me what you thought in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.